Hey everybody, we're going to start off today talking about placeables. I want to go over some different ideas and I want to go from beginning to end on a working door. This is a straight replacement, doesn't do anything fancy, but I want to talk about how to create an asset really quick in Blender, set it up, drop it in, make it a placeable object, put it into your world, and actually have it work through a socket, a connectable socket. So the very first thing we're going to do is go into Blender. I'm using Blender because it's free and it's pretty easy. It's not my favorite tool, but it's certainly one that everyone can get a hold of. So we're going to start there. First thing I want to do is we're going to select this guy and we need to do a little bit of scaling on it. Let's change this to 2.1, make it skinny, make it a little bit wider, and let's make it tall. I think that looks pretty good. So next piece we're going to do is just move it up a little and move it over a little. What I'm going to do is, you see I've got the pivot point down here, so I want 0, 0 to be there. So when we pull it in, when the door turns, it's going to use the pivot point as its turning point. So I think this is the right side. We're going to give this a try and see where it's at. Next thing, I'm actually going to drag in a texture. I am creating a Japanese style paper door. I just have some assets already put together. So I'm going to drag this on there and it's good enough. I'm not going to do a lot of UV work. This is just purely to get a model going. So let's export to FBX and I have my paper door and we're just going to call this our paper blender. Let's export the FBX. So now we should be able to go in and drag this into Unreal. So I've got my mods folder. I'm going to drag in my new asset and it will create it and it's going to give us some options. This does not have to be skeletal. It should not be skeletal. Auto generate collision. This is very important, really important. It needs to create a convex hull. You see this one convex hull, make sure that's checked. Otherwise, the placeables just will not work. I'm not sure why, but that's one thing I found that was very, very important. We're going to tell it to also import our materials and textures, and that should be good. I hope the translation, we may have to re-import it with a different scale, so let's give it a try. See how big it is, see if it looks right. Yeah, it's a little big, but I think it'll be fine. Let's try it out real quick. We're going to fire it up, just see where it's at. It looks like my texture didn't make it in. We can drag that in 1 second and apply the material. Plus I have a normal that I want to drop in anyway, so we're going to do a little bit of custom work on the material. Okay, here we go. And should be loading up the world in just a moment. There we go. All right, so I have some stuff in here from previous runs, just some placeables that I put in. Yeah, it's way too big. I want it to fit inside of there. So let's import it at probably about half the scale. Something you could do to make it fit is actually export the other stuff, pull it into your modeling software. We're not going to go through all that hassle. Oops. We're going to drag this guy back in with 50% scaling. So let's do that. So uniform scale of 0.5. That should be just fine. And we no longer need to do that because we already did it. It's there. We don't need a pile of materials. Okay, so let's see how we did now. Oh yeah, that looks much better. Okay, so let's work on the material. By default, it's set up to use this material. Let's go in and change this material to be a little more useful. I'm going to drag in that texture that I had earlier. And I'm also going to drag in my normal. Let me show you a quick little trick, by the way. This is a fun way of generating normals if you don't have any. I'm using Photoshop for this. Sorry, it's not free. I don't know what to tell you other than it's really awesome. Find a way. You can pay monthly. So here we've got this texture. They have a wonderful thing where you can basically say, I'm going to create a 3D map. I usually go in and do mesh preset from sphere. So this will create a 3D model based on this texture. Oops. Sorry, there's some dialogues popping up. So now we've basically wrapped this around this. We can do some fun things. We can select the sphere material, go into normals, and we can say generate normals from diffuse. This will create a normal based on the differences in the texture. So check it out. This is really fun. So essentially it's created this thing, and it's given us this really handy tool. Now, I know for a fact that we're going to want it to look like that. I know it looks reversed here, but it'll apply correctly in a model. And you may have to play with that depending on your texture and how it pulls in and all kinds of other stuff. You can change a lot of different values to get sharpness. We're going to reduce the blur so it's very crisp because these are wooden slats. Play with it however your model is happy. Once you've done that, then you can go into the normal. I usually just go into edit texture and then export. Quick export as PNG, and I can export as that. I already did this, so that's what that texture is. So I just want to show you that. Very helpful, very useful, and it creates a pretty decent normal. It's not perfect, but it's certainly not bad. So let's drag our textures onto here. Our diffuse, which is this guy. We're going to get rid of this thing. This is going to be a new base color, our normal. Let's see. We also need make float. I do that every single time. I always think make float, but it is constant. So we have a couple things here. First, we have our base color. So we're going to set that to our texture, which is this guy. You see our preview. We can change it to this square so we can see that how it looks there. We're going to pull in our normal, and this isn't going to be an exhaustive. And you can see it actually did a pretty good job. It is long ways from perfect, and if I was an artist, I would sit and probably clean up all these little things and make it look a lot better. But you can see immediately that the automatic generation one from Photoshop is really pretty darn good, because we start out with a very flat, shiny texture. Just by dropping a normal in, it immediately goes to looking like that, which is pretty good. Next, let's set up our metallic to 0, just a constant of 0. Same thing with specular. This is paper, so I'm killing all of the things. I'm setting the roughness. I could probably set it to Let's see. Let's change the roughness to like 0.5. Give a little more, little bit of something, and then none of these should be active. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's a decent basic start. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So, great. Now, the next very important thing, it's wonderful that I have this, boy, that doesn't look fantastic, does it? Oh well, it'll have to do. Too late to fix it now. So, next thing I need to do is go into where we actually have the doors. So the doors are based on every door inherits from the BPPL door. So this guy has a bunch of very generic stuff. We're going to be emulating the wood door since it kind of is. And so what I'm going to do is make a copy of this so I don't have to go in and recreate everything. There's a lot of stuff on this. So let's copy this over. Let's go in. And we're going to rename this guy to PL paper door. So the very first thing we need to do is open this guy up and switch that out for, let's open the full blueprint editor. Oh, why do you keep going on my other screen? Very annoying. Okay. So if we look in the viewport, we see that this is our basic wooden door. That's great, but I want to switch to static mesh. We know that the static mesh is called our paper blender. So let's do paper blender. Now we immediately see some issues. One, it's rotated the wrong direction. Let's open up the, let's save this guy off real quick. Do a quick compile, and sorry, let's go show in folder view. That way I can just hop back to it. Let's open this guy up so we can do a side-by-side comparison. So we see this guy. We have our rotation stuff going on. Let's open up our static mesh and the viewport here. So we notice that our pivot is in the same spot. Looks like our blender work did what it was supposed to do. Our pivot is basically in the right spot. It could be in the middle more, but close enough. Actually, I think it's exactly right. No, they put it in the center. So I probably should have centered it. I'm not going to correct it because it's not, this is not for final, and it's off a little. I'm no expert in Blender. I probably could have done a better job. But the very first thing we notice is, hey, we have a rotation issue. Let's take this guy, our mesh piece, and let's rotate it. So it looks like we're 90 degrees off. Let's rotate it 90 degrees, and hey, we're already looking quite a bit better. We're actually pretty close. So let's make sure our alignment is correct as well. Looks like it's a little far down. Okay. Maybe, let's see, my movement is 10. Let's make it 1 so we can get a little more precise. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So now it should approximately behave like the other one. How's our alignment here? Pretty good. Okay, so let's talk about some of the stuff that makes a door a door. The sockets. It is really important. This is a build socket. It is essentially where it's going to snap when it goes to snap into place. The other piece is the static mesh, which we looked at, the corner box, and let's see, check for contact. So this is the thing that actually checks for if the thing is actually being interacted with. Skeletal mesh is not used in this case. Exclusive placement sphere. So you can define where, like, what things can be placed in a certain spot. You can have exclusions. This includes things like saying what you can and cannot attach to. You can say which things you're allowed to overlap. And then I'm not sure what the door checker is. Let's see. Yeah, so a lot of the placeable and the interaction stuff is hidden behind C++, so I'm not going to dig in too deep. So let's go a little bit further into some of the problems that can come up. One of the things I had done originally was create a mesh that did not have collision, and it would not work. It basically gets very confused, and it can't seem to understand where it is in relation to the world. So now that we have the door, it's basically right. Let's save it off. We have our paper door here. The very first place we need to go is to our data tables. By the way, this is a very helpful thing. In filters, you can set up some quick filters of things you want to look at. I have ticked data table. That way I can go up to the top, select content, click data table, and just filter out and show only data tables. This is really nice because it makes things speed up quite a bit. First thing I want to look at is the item named a template ID. This is the things that in lists we can sort of add. So let's type door. You see door and door frame, and we have our T1 door. So I'm going to create a new one, which is called, sorry about that. Oh, don't create one when you're searching. It just disappears. It's really annoying. It does create it, but you can't see it. I'm going to call this a T1 paper underscore door. Spaces are underscores, and the T1, all that stuff is filtered. Now we need to give us an ID. I know that placeables are in the 90,000 range, so I'm going to go with 90,000 and 255. That way it's just a bit above everything else. So now that we've got that guy, it's very important that we keep this handy because we're about to go over to the item table. So item table is a giant list. We're going to create a new entry. We're going to give it our ID that we used over there, and we're going to give it our name, paper door. Something I find helpful is once I do that, I type in the other thing that I'm interested in to make it easier to basically copy what was done. So this is the same as a simple wooden door. So I'm going to use that to make editing a bit easier. So I'm going to look at this guy, do a comparison, and see what I need to do. So very first thing is an icon. We're going to use my basic texture. It would be nice to get a 75 or a 45 degree angle view of the model, and you could do that pretty easily, but this is what I'm going to go with for now. The item class. So this are all of these are building items. So we just set it to building item. Next is the building class. So this guy, I think, let's scooch over and take a look. This should be the thing to our paper door. So we're going to reference the blueprint actor that we just created, or that we duplicated from that other door. Next is the blueprint item, which is always rock 1. I don't know why. That's something I actually want to ask about, because I looked and I just don't understand why it always is that. So next we start going through. We're going to use basically the same setup as everyone else. Stack size of 100. Equipment location is 0. It's not a weapon, it is a building item. The visual static mesh is not set, I think. Let's see. Yeah, those 3 are always empty. Item flags, by the way, these show up at the very end of this list for some reason. It's really strange. But the item flag in this case is can be looted, which is 1. And then container size should be 0. I think -1 works as well. So let's go back now that we did those 2 and we resume. Not sure why the sorting is like that. Has no armor value, none one-handed. These are all fine. Defaults are correct. Next is the encumbrance weight, which should be right here. It's going to be 1.5, which seems to be the encumbrance for all build items, or at least quite a few of them. Probably something with 100 stack, or I don't know what, but. So let's see. Any other non-default values? Yes, the item tier. So item tier should be 1. And no armor. All the rest defaults. Going through, looks good, looks good. Max durability is -1. And then we have a repair item. We're going to make it repairable in the exact same way as the stone door. You can obviously put in your own repair item stuff here. If you have something, that you want to use repair, how much of it is needed. But this is just fine for now. So the amount, let's go with the same amount as the regular standard door. And then the weight is going to be 1. One other little oddity, you'll notice there's no repair item 3, but it always has a weight. I don't know why. I'm guessing it's going to be it's required somewhere along the way. But essentially there's no second repair item, but the weight is set. I haven't tried with and without, but just something interesting to note. All right, so next up. Affected by damage tiers. So this is what damages it. We're going to say stone weapons damage this guy, even though that one's 8, because this is a paper door. So it's going to be a little bit more of a wuss. Item flags we already set. And then everything else is the same. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Avatar type. Let's see. Is none. Okay. So at this point, I think that should be enough to generate it. So let's give her a go. I'm definitely not the owner of these things, so we're going to have to go a little ways away and create some new stuff. I don't think I have any inventory. I do not. So let's do a couple things first. Let's just spawn a bunch of eggs so I can have something to eat, because I'm about to die of thirst, and I don't want that bothering me right now. Okay, so next up, let's look for a paper door. Nope. What am I missing here? Oh, I'm not in building tab. Sorry. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, so there's our paper door. Let's spawn 3 of these guys. let's also spawn a sandstone foundation. Let's spawn 3 of those as well. And let's spawn the door frame. And 3 of those as well. Okay, so let's get ourselves ready here. Get that guy, drop that guy in, and then this guy. All right, so here we go. Let's drop in our foundation. And then next, we're gonna put in our door frame. And now, you can see we can drop that guy in. It snaps right into place, just like as if it was a regular door. If for some reason you wanted to change where it snapped to, you can actually move around the snap points and change how and where it snaps. So that's great if you have custom models or you want to build stuff like that. So I've put that guy in. Now we can just go up. Oh man, my rotation is a little weirded out. That's awesome. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, I've definitely got something a little weird there. Alright, so there's our door. Oh yeah, it's... I saw this earlier when I was doing my door, and I haven't figured it out yet. Please let me know in a comment why, if you open it from one side versus the other, why it will screw up like that. So if we open it from this side, it actually goes, it keeps going. Anyways, yeah, let me know if you know what's going on there. All right, so that's the basics of it. Nothing more than that. If you want to, experiment, please feel free to let me know if you want to see something more. That's pretty much it for this video. I appreciate everybody watching. Let me know if there's anything specific you want to see. And again, thank you.